All right, let's dive right into this. Welcome to today's explainer. I want you to think about the calendar for a second. We generally treat every single day as if it carries the exact same weight, right? Just 24 hours, a simple blank square on a page. But when we actually analyze the timeline of human history, something truly fascinating emerges about one date in particular, June 28th. It's almost like certain dates act as powerful magnets for profound historical change. Today, I'm putting on my history professor hat, and we are going to look at the immense historical weight and massive global shifts that have all coincidentally landed precisely on the 179th day of the year. Honestly, the sheer density of triumphs, tragedies, and major turning points on this specific date is absolutely staggering. So to make sense of this incredibly crowded timeline, we're going to organize our analysis into 5 areas. First, the WWI nexus dates. Then, rebellions and civil rights. Third, coronations and global treaties. Fourth, disasters and historical tragedies. And finally, scientific and cultural milestones. Let's get into it.
Section 1, the WW1 nexus dates. Okay, if you really want to understand the causes of the First World War, you'll find that all roads lead to June 28th. In 1914, the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand provided the ultimate casus belli, the provocation for war. But you have to understand it wasn't just a single spark. That event triggered the July crisis, which was this catastrophic month of complete diplomatic failures and failed secret negotiations between nations. Negotiations that absolutely could have prevented war, but instead allowed what was essentially a localized tension to rapidly spiral into a broader continental conflict. And then, exactly 5 years later, literally to the day, on June 28, 1919, the Treaty of Versailles was signed, officially ending the state of war between Germany and the Allies. This single date serves as both the alpha and the omega of one of the deadliest conflicts in human history. Now, looking at the chronological milestones here, 1917 serves as a really crucial escalation point, because on June 28, 1917, Greece joined the Allied powers. This perfectly illustrates how the complex web of European alliances didn't just maintain the war, it continually escalated it. It dragged an international involvement that fundamentally changed the conflict's global scope. So on this single calendar date stretched across a 5-year span, we can map the exact trigger of the war, a major international escalation point, and the final diplomatic resolution. It's just wild.
So clearly, June 28th is forever cemented as the primary nexus date of World War I. But what else happened on the 179th day of the year? Well, we have to step away from the battlefields of Europe for a minute because, incredibly, the timeline of human events sharing this exact calendar square is just as dense in completely different areas. Let's hit the reset button on our narrative and explore what else this day has to offer.
Section 2, rebellions and civil rights. Throughout modern history, June 28th has acted as a massive flashpoint for everyday people pushing back against systemic oppression and fighting for their fundamental rights. Just look at the progression here. In 1956, workers from the HCP factory in Poznan took to the streets. And this wasn't just some minor strike. It sparked one of the very first major protests against the communist government in Poland and across Europe. Then, jump forward to 1964. Malcolm X forms the Organization of Afro-American Unity, which was a huge step in the fight for Black empowerment and human rights. And perhaps most famously of all, on this exact date in 1969, the Stonewall riots began in New York City. This event was so transformative that June 28th now marks International LGBTQ Pride Day, forever commemorating the start of the modern gay rights movement.
Moving right along to Section 3, coronations and global treaties. Shifting our focus from grassroots rebellions to the absolute highest levels of global authority, we can see a vast span of time and how power is secured and transferred on this day. Way back in 1519, Charles V is elected Holy Roman Emperor, consolidating massive power across Europe. Fast forward to 1838, and we've got the grand coronation of Queen Victoria in the UK, officially cementing an era that would literally bear her name. But pay close attention to 1881. The Austro-Serbian alliance is secretly signed. This actually ties right back to our World War I analysis. It was exactly this kind of secret negotiation and hidden alliance building that laid the groundwork for the massive diplomatic failures of 1914. And finally, bringing us all the way into the 21st century, in 2004, sovereign power was handed over to the interim government of Iraq, officially ending the US-led rule of that nation. So we have another massive geopolitical handover, landing squarely on June 28th.
Now for Section 4, disasters and historical tragedies. History isn't just made up of treaties and revolutions. We do have to shift to a more serious, dramatic reality for a moment. History is also heavily marked by sudden, heartbreaking disasters that permanently alter communities. Take a moment to just look at this staggering number, 635. This represents the number of lives lost on this day in 1904. The SS Norge, which was a passenger ship packed with people, tragically ran aground on Hasselwood Rock in the North Atlantic, over 200 miles northwest of Ireland. More than 635 people died during the sinking, making it a truly monumental maritime tragedy.
And here we see the number 58. This is the tragic death toll from 1896, when an explosion in the Newton Coal Company's Twin Shaft mine in Pittston, Pennsylvania, resulted in a massive, devastating cave-in. It's a very sobering reminder of the everyday risks and the immense human costs that heavily punctuate our historical calendar.
Finally, Section 5, Scientific and Cultural Milestones. Okay, let's bring the energy back up with a fascinating mix of scientific firsts, cultural debuts, and honestly, outright historical frauds that round out the remarkable profile of this state. In 1895, a man named James Revis tried to lay claim to the barony of Arizona. He basically attempted to steal a massive swath of land through this highly elaborate, crazy scheme. While the United States Court of Private Land Claims dismantled his entire fake empire on June 28th, legally declaring his claim, and I quote, wholly fictitious and fraudulent. It remains one of the most audacious, incredible cons in American history, and it was officially brought down on this exact day.
But beyond the legal dramas, just look at the incredible variety of human progress landing on this day across completely different disciplines. Culturally, in 1841, the Paris Opera Ballet premiered the iconic ballet Giselle. Scientifically, in 1911, the Nakhla meteorite fell to Earth in Egypt. And get this, it was the very first meteorite to suggest signs of aqueous processes, which means water, on Mars. And industrially, in 1926, Gottlieb Daimler and Carl Benz officially merged their two companies, forming the legendary automotive brand we all know today as Mercedes-Benz. So the crucial takeaway here is this. When we extract all these distinct events from the source material and lay them out side by side, the density is almost unbelievable. From the spark that ignited World War I to the exact treaty that ended it, from the Stonewall riots to the formation of Mercedes-Benz, from tragic maritime disasters to our very first clues about water on Mars, it leaves us with a final, really provocative question. Are dates like June 28th simply magnets for profound coincidence, or is the timeline of human history just that incredibly crowded? I really hope this explainer has left you marveling at the incredible weight of a single turn of the calendar, and I highly encourage you to keep questioning the amazing history hidden within our everyday lives.